I'm going to start this video with an apology. I am going to post this on all of my friends who are fans of Transformers, G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe, because there's some pertinent things we got to say here. What you guys do with that from there is up to you, but I apologise in advance now.
Just a few more days. Just a few.
Hello! We are literally a few days away from Rollout Roll Call now. What can I possibly have to say now? Well, I've not actually told you what presentations and features we're going to be having at the show. So today, this very short and probably the last video, I'm going to give you a rundown of the amazing presentation schedule that we've got lined up for the show. We've got a couple of different things, whether or not if you're a fan of like Masters of the Universe, Transformers or G.I. Joe. So by all means, just stay tuned, check this out, and please come down to the show. Each day in isolation, weekend ticket holders get to benefit from the following presentations on the Saturday. We start off with Larry Hama, the godfather of G.I. Joe comics, deconstructing the silent issue. Now this is a presentation he actually did a couple of years ago at Rollout Roll Call, and it was phenomenal. Panel by panel, Larry will go through issue 21, the silent issue, the very famous one where there are no text. It's all done by graphic storytelling. Larry will go through that entire comic explaining the reasons and the ideas and the choices that were made for that, and it is genuinely fascinating. It's a brilliant insight into that classic issue. You all probably know, you've all probably read it a dozen times, but like having Larry break it down for you bit by bit is absolutely fascinating. So that's the first one of the day. We then go on to the Power and Honor Foundation by Emiliano Santalucia. Now, I've said it a couple of times, Emiliano is not just a He-Man guy. He is responsible for some of the coolest Transformer generation products of recent years. You know, just have a look at some of this stuff. We got like Metroplexes, Rat Trap, there's Waspinator, all of the things that you guys cover over the last few years, Emiliano has been responsible for. So for an hour, he will be talking through his work, not just necessarily within like Transformers and like Mattel, for like the Masters of the Universe range, but he'll also be talking about the documenting and like the archive history of preserving the Masters of the Universe brand. So absolutely fascinating. We've then got the Joe Declassified panel with Gary Gyre Viper Head. Gary is super excited to be giving UK and European fans a first opportunity, the first ever Joe Declassified panel at Rollout Roll Call. He's been working tirelessly to put together phenomenal content and very rarely seen, if ever seen, stuff relating to the history of the G.I. Joe brand. And I also know he's got a couple of things in there that are Transformer related as well. So again, don't pass up this opportunity to see something and learn something absolutely phenomenal. From there, we've got the third-party Transformers panel with Seno Kibble and Casey Sark. The guys have worked extensively on third-party Transformers, working across many different brands, helping you within the realms of like some of the concept design for the engineering, and also kind of like, you know, building like the character stories behind them. Those guys will be presenting a panel on some of the upcoming stuff from some of those brands, and I do know, can confirm, say that they will be revealing some new content that have not been shown anywhere that's relating to Mastermind creation. So if you are a fan of the third-party Transformers, you have to make this panel, and you'll get to see some of the extended stuff, some of the forthcoming stuff, some of that you'd be aware of, but there will be new content there as well. We then move on to the beautiful, wonderful Boss Fight Studios, who will take you through designing an action figure. Now, again, this was something that they did last year. There really wasn't enough time to give them the full run of the floor and that, because there was just so much content. This doesn't necessarily relate just to G.I. Joe. It covers all of the things that they've ever worked on. So like you've got the Marvel range, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars as well. they'll give you an insight into the production process of what goes into making an action figure. They will dispel some of those myths that you have, some of the conspiracies, and also explain some of the reasons of why certain things, certain decisions are made within the production of an action figure line. It is brilliant. It is absolutely fantastic. And you're going to have like Dave Proctor, Katrina, and Andrew there, and they will go through this with you. Do not miss this. This is absolutely this is why you buy a weekend ticket for all of these amazing panels. You've got to check this one out. The last one of the day, and we've announced this on Facebook yesterday, and this is pretty much a big deal. We will have, for the first time ever, the Transformers Collectors Club and the G.I. Joe Collectors Club via Skype chiming in and doing the first Rollout Roll Call Collectors Club roundtable. So the guys, I believe it will be just Pete Sinclair, but maybe Dave Lane might be able to join us as well. But Pete will be taking us through what's been going on at the club of recent. He will also hold a Q&A, so give you a chance to ask the club directly what's going on, and give you a chance to be heard. That's fantastic. He may, if you're good enough, if you're very good, he may also have a few tidbits that he might be able to share with you as well. I mean, come on, what other show does this for you? Oh wait, you got Joe Con and BotCon. Anyway, that doesn't matter. That takes us all throughout Saturday. That is just, I think, the best possible lineup we could probably give you guys. It is brilliant. So you have to do it. You have to get something from those. Now we come back to Sunday, and we've got another fun-packed field presentation schedule. We start off with the Total Retaliation panel. Now I mentioned in the last video that Patrick Lennon and Brian Hickey are going to be showcasing for the first time worldwide premiere their Total Retaliation book. They will be holding a panel talking about the workings of the book, what went into it, the design of it, and show you some of the amazing photography and maybe even some of the things that they didn't actually use. But that is brilliant. You shouldn't actually miss that. The second one of the day is a little bit left field, but nonetheless absolutely amazing and totally cannot miss. The Mapes brothers, Steve and David, are going to be doing Behind the Magic of Visionaries. Okay, what's the connection? Well, Visionaries do use the same buck or the same action figure design as G.I. Joe, and of course many of the guys that worked on that brand also worked on Visionaries. Now they are massive enthusiasts of the Visionaries brand, and they are going to be doing a panel presentation on some of the stuff that you never saw. The line got cancelled quite early on, and there was a lot of stuff that they were working on that never got to see the light of day. Steve and David are going to give you a chance to see some of that stuff. So if you are a fan of Visionaries or just like 80s nostalgia, you have to check that one out. Linking on to 80s nostalgia, we come on to Back to the 80s, who have just done their 200th podcast. Congratulations, guys. But you'll be able to join Glenn Jakeman from Back to the 80s for his commercial breakdown, and he's gonna, for about half an hour, go through some classic 80s TV advertising from like the UK, all of that amazing cheesy stuff, but a lot of it is just brilliant. Some of this stuff you don't actually see in toy advertising anymore, and so if you want a real kick back to some great toy advertising and toy marketing, check that one out. Glenn is also then going to go on to interview Karen Travis, one of our guests, who has recently just published The Fall of G.I. Joe, a new comic book series through IDW. Glenn is going to be interviewing Karen and talking about her work, not just with like G.I. Joe's, but some of her wider projects as well, and some of the other franchises that she's worked on. So to get a little understanding, and maybe you also get an idea of where she's going with that whole new series, you've got to check that panel out. Right, last two panels of the day. We bring back Boss Fight Studios. Now, on the Saturday, they talked about the generic designing of an action figure. On the Sunday, they're talking about their Vitruvian Hacks line. So if you were in a cave somewhere and completely missed, they held the most successful Kickstarter ever for an action figure based product, the Vitruvian Hacks. So they will be talking to you about the development of the line, what's been happening since the Kickstarter, and again, they might just reveal and give you a glimpse into some of the stuff that's forthcoming in the later waves. But that is super exciting. I, for one, can't wait for that line, so I'll be super pumped to see what else is coming out down the line. The last presentation of the day is The Wonderful World of James E. Tock. James will be talking to you about some of the work he's been doing on the He-Man YouTube channel that he's been doing, which is the official YouTube channel for Masters of the Universe. So he'll be taking you through some of that and some of the wider project work that he's been doing on the Serial Geek magazine. So again, if you're a fan of nostalgia, cartoons, and Masters of the Universe, you have to check that one out. He's always very entertaining, and who knows what he's going to be pulling out of the bag there. So that pretty much wraps it up for this series of like videos that running up to Roll Out Roll Call 2014. At the start of this whole thing, I said there were 4 things that made up a great show at Roll Out Roll Call. Number 1 is the guests. I think we've got possibly one of the best lineups that we can get of all the people that have creatively helped add something to the brands that you love. Larry Hammer, Nick Roche, John Paul Bove, Boss Fight Studio, Jason Cardy, Gary Head, Raging Spoon, Karen Travis, I'm being put, Eamon O'Donoghue, Emiliano Santilucia, and so many more. Woo! Second thing I said, exclusives. We've got official exclusives for the first time, guys, in the UK. We've got beyond that. We've also got like a world premiere of a book launch. You know, I think we've ticked that box. The third one was presentations and features. Again, I think we've done that. We've just talked about the presentations. We've also got like some of the showcasing, like I said, for like Mattel, we've got showcasing a product there, as well as other things that other people like bringing along to show at the show. And then the fourth thing is you. It really is all down to you. I don't want to be seeing on a forum in a few months' time, or on Facebook, or on YouTube, or anywhere, of people saying, oh, the UK gets nothing. I'm not buying that. It really doesn't count anymore. You know, these companies have come halfway. It's now down to you to meet them and like actually join them with that. You know, they've laid, the foundation is there. They've laid the foundation stone for the things that you want, you know, your UK exclusives and things. The foundation is there, but you have to actually be part of that for it to like progress and go forward. I said in a previous video, if you're not part of the Transformer Collectors Club or the G.I. Joe Collectors Club, or signing up to the Mattel subscription service for like the Masters of the Universe line, if you're not doing that and they don't know that you exist, how are they going to listen to you? You've now got this opportunity. It really is completely down to you guys, you know, and I really hope that you do actually join this and come down to the show and actually embrace and take away so much from it. Irrespective of what you may think of the show or of me or whatever, if I am one person and I've managed to do this and get this far, imagine what we could completely do as a community. It'd just be like phenomenal. So, Roll Out Roll Call, Twins of Power, this weekend at Southampton Jury's Inn. Come down. It'll be great to see you. It'll be guaranteed that you will have a brilliant time meeting up with your friends and also making lots of new ones, and there'll be a whole heap of stuff for you to see and do. It's going to be brilliant, and I'm going to see you there.
Do you think this might mean he might shut up finally?
Nah.